station, and it's an only child. To my reputation, something more than what I know it serves me right, but I can't sleep.
Oh, geez, hey, hi, everybody. I think Mary Jane does this on purpose. All right, today, folks, I think is going to be a really good show. And I have somebody with me that just got back from her world tour. And of talking. She gets like $5 million for 45 minutes. I'm making all this up too, folks, so don't be believing this. I have with me tonight Kathleen Mitchell, who hasn't been here for a while. And
can I be your co-host a lot?
I don't know about a lot.
Sometimes?
But we can talk.
Okay.
So how you been?
Me, Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Where you been hiding?
Where have you been hiding?
Where have you been hiding? Because you haven't been very, not many people have seen you around. You disappeared for a while. I mean,
because I was in the hospital, you fool.
I know. Besides that never stopped you from writing.
What I'm writing? I went to the council the other night.
Yes, I was surprised to see you
give them hell. And
well,
wait till I get my license back.
You were making the mayor smile very much the whole time you were doing it.
I was?
Yeah, he was getting a kick out of you.
Oh, yeah. Because I was so glad to see, we had snowflakes the other night, so I was so glad to see that he didn't call an emergency a meeting.
Yeah, that was funny.
And didn't set up Command Central. Yeah, but you know what he said? Because I text him all the time, I tell him what to do. Amazingly enough.
He must love that.
Oh, well, he answers me. Well, so I asked him if it was, I wanted to know if he was going to set up. When I looked out the window and I saw snowflakes, I wanted to know ahead of time, is he going to set up any special press announcements or anything like that? And he said yes, and he was going to take over the top floor of the Mohegan Hotel as his Command Central.
I used to get a kick out of that when Finizio would do that, like it was this major thing, I mean, so you're at a command center. You shouldn't be at a command center to begin with. You should be letting the people that are running the departments do what they got to do. You shouldn't be in there telling them what they got to do.
I bet he's having a good laugh now.
Well, I don't know. Today in the paper with the firemen, where he hired 6 of them, and now they got to let 3 of them go because of the way it was done. Something wasn't done right, and so.
Yeah, but did you remember he said that he was not going to make any comments or anything? He's out, and he's not going to make any comments. But being at the city council the other night, I thought he doesn't have to. He's got those fools to talk for him. I can't believe that Don Vendetto said what he said about.
We might as well jump right into that topic.
Oh, okay. What topic would that be?
That would be what is the proper name for that?
Police Community Relations Committee.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Or otherwise known as PCRC.
I don't get that. I spoke on that too at the council meeting. And to vote somebody on that committee that has either a lawsuit or a complaint against the police department or a lawsuit against the city, and you stick them on something like that, something don't seem right to me about that. I mean, it would be like me suing the city, and then they vote me to be on the jury.
Well, I don't think you can be on boards or agencies if you owe the city money, like water bills or taxes. You have to clear up that stuff first. I'm pretty sure it's both.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's in the charter or somewhere. It's in there.
I don't remember.
Oh, maybe I just wrote it in because I thought
it could be an ordinance or something.
Yeah. But all I suggested to them was that before they appoint any more people to the PCRC, that they take time to review what the ordinance says. The ordinance doesn't say we're going to, stack this committee with a bunch of activists who really, look at that letter that Kristen Raitt, who's now the chairperson. You read that letter she wrote to the day, right?
I don't remember it all, but I remember at the time it was.
Basically what she said is don't bother training the policemen, just buy some bulletproof vests for the little black and brown children in the community so they were not going to get shot.
And now she's chairman?
Now she's chairman. And Don Vendetto, who I thought was a reasonable man, obviously I made a mistake, but I thought he was a reasonable man. He said, no, you can't just say this person can't be on the committee, like Habiba Abdul Hakim. You can't say she can't be on the committee just because she has a complaint against Todd Lynch. We have to give a voice to everyone.
Yeah, but
that's
you
dumb.
have the chairman of the committee that says the police union, representatives from the police union were at the last meeting or whatever, and she thought that was a conflict of interest. But if she thinks that's a conflict of interest, having a complaint against the police department, and this committee is all about the public and the police department, isn't that a conflict of interest? I mean, what kind of decisions
I think
do these
she's a
people make?
conflict of interest. Right off the bat, Kristen.
I mean, she seems like a very intelligent woman.
So?
But still, that doesn't mean anything.
You know what? To me, in my humble opinion, do you believe that?
It sounds good.
In my humble opinion, the Police Community Relations Committee was not formed in order to, like a court decree. It was not. There was a case in 1977, I think, brought against the New London Police, and the court said, look, you've got to take this back to the police department, and they have to take a look at it and see what's wrong. But the city council formed this Police Community Relations Committee, and it was a place that citizens could go and have their complaints looked at so that they wouldn't be shuffled under the rug or something like that. But it was also, and people seem to forget this, to improve relations between the police department and the citizens. I don't know how you can improve relations between the police department and the citizens when you got some wacko like Kristen Raitt talking about getting bulletproof vests for the little black and brown children because the police are going to shoot them.
It doesn't help situations, like you say. It's supposed to be a committee that brings the people together and find out answers and stuff. You can't go into, when people go into these committees, whatever ones, even like the ethics committee, you're supposed to go in there with an open mind. You're not supposed to go in there with an attitude. I mean, if like this woman is saying about the vests, there's already a chip on the shoulder. And so how are you supposed to accomplish something fair and equal?
I don't think you can, and I don't know why they allow her to be on that committee.
Do you know the makeup of the committee as far as race?
Yes, sort of.
I mean,
it's a 13-member.
Yeah, is it balanced?
There's, I think it's a 13-member committee. They have a representative from the police department, of the police union.
Yeah.
They have someone from NAACP, which is another thing. If they insisted on putting Habiba, who I've known her mother for 106 years.
Yeah, you were saying at the council.
But she wouldn't talk to me after I spoke to the committee, to the council.
You kind of expected that, I think.
No, you know what? That's what it's come to. I have known Habiba is now on that committee. I have known Habiba since she was a year old. Is that all it takes to dissolve a friendship? Is because I think that Habiba does not need to be on the committee. It wouldn't matter what color she was or what nationality she was or what sex she was. She has a complaint that has not been resolved yet. She does not belong on that committee.
No, I agree. That's the one complaint I had about it. And the same thing with the woman there from, I guess she lost her grandson. He drowned. Yeah. And they're going to be suing the city.
Well, they filed an intent to sue. I don't know what exactly that means because that was months ago. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and sue or what. But she doesn't belong on there either.
No, I mean...
Until they resolve that.
Exactly.
But listen to this. Somebody, I can't remember the woman's name, but somebody was at that meeting the other night, and she said, okay, Habiba's got a complaint against Todd Lynch. And this has not been resolved, I think, for 2 years. So this woman says that she thinks that Todd Lynch should not be able to attend the meetings because it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's the woman I was talking about.
Well, doesn't she consider that Habiba's a conflict of interest?
Well, she should be.
Yeah, but she didn't mention Habiba. She
No.
only mentioned Todd. You know, and I'll tell you, I know I talk too much, but you
No,
know,
that's okay. It's been a while. Everybody, you know.
I've been arrested a number of times in my life.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, we're done here.
I've been arrested. I've been arrested in New London by a cop who used to arrested me in the city of Groton. I mean, that's when I was still drinking and doing drugs. I haven't had a drink or a drug in like 30-something years.
Oh.
So they don't arrest me anymore. But while it was great fun. But I kept getting arrested, so I just decided I'm not going to do that anymore. But anyway, and most of the times the arrests were warranted, but sometimes they weren't. A few times.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you were
once.
on a roll, so.
Once maybe. But I don't like being put in the position of being the police department's good friend, you know. But I'm forced now into being a supporter of the police department because these stupid people, you should excuse me.
Oh, no. Go
These stupid people on the council, I can't believe they did this. Just review the.
But see,
okay.
it
You're
was.
very rude to interrupt me when I'm on a roll.
I know, but if I don't, I'll never get a word in.
You're right.
Now, on the administration committee, you have Mike Tranquita, Anthony Nolan, and Efren Dominguez. So
Oh, boy.
you had.
could we go wrong?
This is kind of a touchy thing for me, and I hope I'm wrong, and I apologize if I offend anybody, but you have. If they're still called minorities, you have two minorities voting on another minority to be on that committee, and you have a non-minority voting against it. Now, I've been seeing this a lot in this town ever since Finizio, to where the boundaries are just getting smaller. I mean, you have everything's turning out to be race, everything in this town, and so are these people?
Are you almost through?
Yeah. Are these people being voted on because of race, or are they being voted on because they think they can do something good?
I think there's a couple of things. First of all, I hadn't thought of the administration committee of Efren, whatever the heck.
Because Efren voted to have her put on there too.
Yeah.
Everybody's hopping on Nolan, but it wasn't only Nolan.
My problem with Anthony on the administration committee is not his race. It's the fact that he's a policeman, and there's a clear conflict of interest. He nominated her, and he voted for her, and Efren did too. And Michael Tranquita did not. So I give him credit for that because, I've been thinking.
Well, Michael didn't vote for her for the very reasons that we're saying, because he felt she had a complaint against the police, and she shouldn't be there while the complaint is active.
Right. He didn't. I think he did the right thing.
Yes.
But what interests me is, well, there's a few things that interest me. Actually, there's a lot to interest me.
Come back.
Sometimes I get so confused, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I had talked to Anthony before. There's a house on Home Street. Home Street and Hempstead, Franklin Street, Garvin Street.
Yeah.
There's another High Street, I think, and that other street that goes there. Anyway, they're all part of a historic district.
Yeah.
And part of the important history of that area has to do with black people in New London's history. In fact, a man, I can't think, doesn't matter, but his name was, as well as I can pronounce it, Savilion Haley. And he had those three homes, there might have been four, on the corner of Hempstead. It goes around there, they're behind the Shiloh Baptist Church.
Yeah.
He sold, those were the first homes that were sold to black people in New London. That's very significant.
Yeah.
He also played a part in the Amistad. He went to New Haven and testified that those were not Cuban slaves; they were free black Africans. And anyway. But they sold. The city recently sold a house at 11 Home Street.
Yeah.
And that kind of irked me because they're going to rent it. I thought if this city is guilty of something, and they are, they're guilty of stealing the history of black citizens in the city, in particular black children. I don't know of a place that black children can go that they can read about their history in this city. They can go,
You mean to tell me there's no groups or anything in this city that
where?
particularly teach the black children about their own history?
Where?
I don't know, I'm asking. I always thought there was somewhere, whether it was in the churches
Yeah, you
or...
thought, you thought, maybe you thought so because you're white. You thought, that's what you thought. A lot of white people think that, oh yeah, well, okay.
But how can I teach?
No, I'm not saying you have to teach. That home street house that the city unthinkingly, and I told
the one that they're going to give the tax abatement to?
The 11 Home Street.
Yeah.
That home was bought and paid for the good of the community by black people in New London. Alexander Hamilton, Arena Eccleston, I can't think of the Una Patton. They put their money, these black citizens in New London, they put their money and their reputation on the line to buy 11 Home Street. And 11 Home Street became a daycare center and a community service center. And eventually it became, they added on to it, and it became a Head Start.
This is the place they sold?
Yeah. See, I thought they shouldn't have sold it.
I didn't know there was that much to it.
Nobody knows. I know because at one point I worked there, and Mr. Monroe Alexander, who was a member of the Hempstead Neighborhood Advisory Council, and he would come every day, and I thought that was so funny because...
Wait a minute. They took the house because of back taxes.
Right.
And it became the city's property, and then they auctioned it off for, I don't know how much, not a lot. And I think one of them, there was two homes. I think the Home Street one, there was either taxes for $3,000 or something, or
I can't remember the taxes.
$13,000 or something like that, and the city's going to let that go. They're not going to, they're going to let the
They're
people.
going to let it go.
But if this house had all this going with it,
I think
that makes it even worse.
That's what I'm thinking. First of all, it's in a historic district that's important, that played a very important part in the growth of the black community in New London. The whole district.
Yeah.
The whole district. And that house in particular, how many other homes can you think of in New London, white, Puerto Rican, whatever, well, okay, Central, but how many other homes played such an important part? Those people put their own money on the line to buy that.
So what do you think they should have done with it?
I think that they should have turned it into like a museum, a place that people could go, black and white, to learn the history of blacks in this community.
Well,
So
we
many
have a big history with blacks in New London. I mean,
What is it?
well, from what I understand, it started with the Amistad. They were, they ended up settling here, didn't they? A lot of them ended up settling in New London.
No.
Well, I did.
Do you mean the people
that were on the boat? Yeah,
no,
on trial.
No, but had it not been for a not a grocer but a store owner, his name was Janes. I think his name was Dwight Janes. Had it not been for him going on that ship and finding out that these were not Cuban slaves, they were free Africans, and he in turn told Savion Haley. And that's how it came to the attention of the authorities that these were free men. That started right here in New London. We should have the Amistad here.
Oh, I agree.
But it irks me. That's my phone. I forgot to turn it off.
I thought there was a little critter running around.
No, I know it. But it irks me no end. And I told Anthony Nolan about this, that house should not be sold. That house should be a resource, not just especially for black citizens.
It was part of Head Start, was there?
Yeah, eventually the Hempstead Neighborhood Advisory Council added on so that there could be a Head Start program.
So see, I didn't know any of this about this house.
And I'll bet a lot of black children don't know either.
I would have thought just the fact that Head Start was part of that would have kept it in the community. All right, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, back to, we were originally talking about the police committee thing, and we ended up on Home Street. And
Oh, you know why? You know what I started? I did have a point to this whole thing. Maybe we can take over the next hour.
I
You
don't-
have to have me back because I'm a fascinating guest.
Oh, you're always welcome.
But what really bothers me about the PCRC and this fool Kristen Wright and the rest, the people like even Habiba, and now her mother's mad at me, and the parent and their friend Ron Ward, they're all mad at me. But what really bothers me is I don't think the police are the problem in New London with racism. We have a much bigger problem. We have a counselor, I don't know who it is, who is the liaison to the Affirmative Action Advisory Commission in New London. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Do you know where the Affirmative
I
Action...
have no idea.
Because we don't have it anymore. It's inactive.
Okay.
That's another thing. While all the attention is going over here to the police, who I don't know what they're guilty of, I don't know what they're guilty of. There's all kinds of institutional racism going on in this city.
Do you remember it being like this before Finizio?
Yeah.
You do?
I think that Finizio made it worse in that he pointed to the wrong areas. I think he... Look at people down in Crystal Avenue. That's, there should have been, and there should be now, a way for the people who live in that section of the city. They talk about Hodges Square, and then they talk about downtown. But you talk about Crystal Avenue, and everybody thinks there are a bunch of criminals down there. They should take that field and make the field they're using now for soccer. They don't use it for soccer. They should open that up, that Winthrop Cove area, and make that into a beautiful, that's a historic site down there, that Hallam Street footbridge. And they should make Crystal Avenue, bring it into the city. Bring it into the, how do those kids get to games? How do they get where they're going? A lot of parents, that is the most densely populated section of New London. People aren't calling in because I'm talking so much. That's the most densely populated section in New London. And the poverty, the most, more minorities live in that section. And when I say minorities, I'm not just talking about blacks.
No.
I'm talking about single parents, veterans, Hispanic people live in that area. And that area gets slighted every single time.
So what do you think, now there's talk about tearing it down. And that makes me crazy every time I hear that because they don't have a plan what to do with the people that are there. They just want to tear it down. What do you think, one, do you think they should tear it down? And two, what do you think they should do with the people that are in there? I didn't stump you, did I?
Huh?
I didn't stump you, did I?
No, but I have this...
I'm not going to get you in trouble.
No, I don't think, but the thing is, I don't think that we need to have public housing, the Housing Authority of New London. I think that, without revealing his name, there's someone else well-known in town who thinks that the Housing Authority is the biggest slumlord around. I went back 10 years looking at the police logs. I mean, it's ridiculous. What happened to senior housing?
Oh, we're going to get started on that?
No, but there's a meeting coming up on the
Yes.
29th. But yeah, I think they ought to tear that down. People weren't meant to live that way. What is there,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 floors to that? I don't know. They weren't meant to live that way. I think they should tear it down. And I think probably Sue Chantel wants to build more, I forgot what they call them,
Like neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think the reason that she wants to do that is because she will be able to retain the power that she has.
Well, yeah, but then again, the meeting we went to, They were talking about building next to the one on Coleman Street, the housing there, another 7 stories next to it. So
Yeah, what was it, 24 apartments?
so, yeah, I think
She
it was.
can't take care of the apartments she's got.
But what I'm getting at is if she's talking about
They can get
building
sick.
7 high, and then she's talking about neighborhoods, what's it going to be? I think the day of living in high rises like that are over. It is not a good environment. I mean, if you had some kind of neighborhoods,
Carabetta has that.
yeah, something along
And
that
I think that's
line.
going well. I mean,
Yes, it is. It's going well.
but it's not artificial. I don't think Carabetta rents to only seniors or only young people or only.
They rent to whoever can afford to pay.
Well, you know, if you grew up in a neighborhood,
And you know, if you're making a lot of money, you're not going to get a place in there.
I think they should privatize it all. I think that Crystal Avenue should come down. That is actually a beautiful location over there.
It is. It's a nice location. I grew up down around there when I was a young kid, back when there was a Main Street, right at the bottom of Stony Hill.
I remember Main Street.
I mean, there's little, and it was, well, I can't say it was really a mixed neighborhood. I mean, it was
It was a mixed neighborhood.
Well, not that much. It was mostly
But
blacks
mixed,
living
yeah,
there.
but when mixed-
But everybody got along. You know, nobody. You know, I don't think back then, because I think I was like one of the only 3 white families that lived on the street at that time I was living there. But that didn't seem to matter. You know, I mean, I'd go across the street to this little diner that was owned by some black folks, and they had a daughter that was about my age, and I'd steal the money out of my old man's pocket, the change, and go over there and play the jukebox.
Yeah.
And me and her would dance, and people would throw nickels on the floor at us.
Really?
That's the way it was.
Somebody
there.
told me you still have those nickels.
I do. But, I mean, how are we going to get... I really think they should go to neighborhoods. I mean, if they're going to spend the money, why go up?
Well, I don't think that they are going up now. I think what they're doing is building more natural neighborhoods. You know, when you grew up in
Yeah.
a neighborhood, you were likely to have some old people. You know, old people. You're likely to have
Soon to be.
You're likely to have some old people, some families, some, you know, black people, Spanish people, I don't know, whoever in the neighborhood. But it's a more natural neighborhood, and I think that's what we should have. And I think that we should privatize the housing authority, get rid of that housing authority, because it's like a power structure. We don't need it. That housing authority is they're slumlords.
Well, I think the main problem with that is the fact that you have all kinds of people living in one building. And when I say all kinds of people, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about you have seniors, you have alcoholics that are, you know, trying to be healthy, for the lack of a better word. You have drug addicts. You have people that are disability. You know, it's all everything. They took the whole pot of everything and they stuck it in one building. And they're doing that with a lot of the buildings, and that's not fair. You know, there's 3, I believe, housing. There's the Coleman Street one. There's the one, I think Hempstead.
Hempstead, 127 Hempstead.
And there's another, Mohegan. And there's
Yeah, but
probably
that's
more.
privately.
Yeah,
You know, if
but
you
what
look
I'm
at
getting
the,
at is they should separate the groups. The seniors should have, what I'm getting at is the seniors have their own building, for lack of a better word. The seniors should not have to worry about anybody but seniors. They shouldn't have to, when they walk out of their door, be afraid or intimidated by who's in the lobby, or somebody that's visiting someone that's all drunk and they're giving a senior a hard time. You know, they shouldn't have to worry about that. I mean, they've done their time, they've worked, they paid their taxes, now they're at their golden years, and the only person they should have to worry about is another senior.
well, you know, sometimes I wonder about the people in New London. They're probably not that much different than people in other cities and towns. But you can bet your sweet whatever it is that if there was a counselor who had a mother living in 127 Hempstead or 202 Coleman, this stuff wouldn't be going on.
No, you know, they used to at one point have the citizens on patrol that would go in there.
Yeah,
And they stopped them from doing that. And when they
you
were
know
there,
why they stopped them?
No.
because they could not, or they would not, Carl Lee and his group would not, Sue Chantel said, I want to know when you're going to be in the building. Give me your schedule. And they said, no, we don't do it that way. I mean, that's ridiculous. Let's just say Sue Chantel had something to do with the drug dealers. Let's just say, for argument's sake.
Jesus.
No,
we're not really saying that, folks, because we don't know.
No, we don't know. But let's just say that she was running a drug ring in there. That wouldn't be unheard of within things.
I think it would have been more of if there was things going on there that weren't proper, and she wouldn't want people going in there and finding that out because it would reflect on her ability to handle the job.
Whatever. You have a security force of some sort in there that you don't want to know when they're going to be around, because the whole point is to catch people, to prevent things from happening, and also to catch those people who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
Well, not only to catch them, it's also for people that are going to be doing something wrong, for them to think, well, gee, I don't know when these people are going to be here. So,
yeah, but if you know they're coming between 7 and 8
yeah.
o'clock, then you don't do anything wrong between 7 and 8
at that
o'clock.
last meeting that they had, and I asked Sue and anybody that would listen, I asked if there was a security guard in the building at night.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they don't want to pay for it. And I'm thinking to myself, who's they? Who's they that don't want to pay for a security guard?
Well, she told me, I have a relative that is next in line for Gordon Court. And so it's my niece, and one of my nieces, and she called me and she said, gee, I'm on disability, complete disability. That's her total income, 700 something. And she said, and they called me in and they said, my rent is going to be 400 and something. And it's like a 30% cutoff. And I said, no, that can't be right. And so I talked to Sue, and she said, oh, well, we lost funding in June or July. I said, really? I've looked all over. I can't find out where they lost that funding. And I even talked to some people at the day. They can't find out where they lost the funding either. What is with $400 and something a month out of a $700 and something check? That's not 30%.
Does that rent cover the utilities and stuff?
No.
Jeez, how you can't live?
No, you can't live. You can't live. And if you compare the arrest rates at 202 Coleman and 127, let's just take those two, with Mohegan and Huntington Towers, which are privately owned, and that other place out in Waterford, AHEPA?
Yeah.
AHEPA in that same time period had 2 arrests, and Housing Authority, you would not believe it. I had to go to another page.
I know, it was long. It was a very long list.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. They should be privatized. I know you want to talk about the trees, right?
Actually, yeah, I do. But, we don't have to.
I was just getting warmed up.
Keep going. Keep going.
Those trees in that parking lot are really...
Well, yeah, I don't understand some of the things these people...
What if I could have a marathon show where I could just keep talking?
You probably could, I'm sure.
It's hell to get me out, but once I'm out, I just won't shut up. Go ahead.
That's good. No, the parking lots, the municipal parking lot, folks, downtown. Some of you know that they're going to redo them, and they're trying to get $500,000 from the state, and for the $500,000, the city has to put in $1 million. So that gives us $1.5 million to work with. So the other day I'm driving by there and I see them cutting down the trees. These trees have been there like 15 years or so. They're not even mature.
Beautiful
really.
Trees, too.
Yeah, and they're along the sidewalk. So if you ever parked there on a summer night or whatever, they throw off some shade. I mean, not at night, but during the day they throw off some shade. I mean, and it's the nicest looking thing in the whole parking lot. But supposedly, when they redo the parking lot, there's no plan for those trees to be there, but there's going to be other trees, which doesn't make any sense to me.
What does that mean?
So that's not even a done deal. That whole parking lot thing is not even a done deal.
Tell them about how they're losing. Tell them.
Yeah, I'll get to that. And so they cut the trees down in hopes of getting the funding and so forth and so on. And once they get done with this parking lot, they're going to lose 40 spaces. The biggest problem we have downtown is parking spaces. And they're doing it, and they're going to have some kind of meter system where you pull in and you show something, and they can tell how long you've been there. And when you leave, then you have to pay.
You know how they figure that out?
No.
Tammy Doherty and Ned Hammond, who I really like Ned a lot, they went up to Boston, which cost money too. And that's what Boston told them they did. So then they came back to New London. So now that's what.
So my question on this is, they're going to change this whole thing around, or at least they think they are. Now, with our track record in New London, a lot of ideas start and they never finish. But let's say they finish this.
This one might finish.
Maybe. Now, you have people that park there that live downtown, and they pay a monthly rate of $25 a month to park in a certain spot.
Is that right?
Huh?
Is that right?
Yeah, because I used to do it. When I go to work, at one time I would pay to park there, so it's $25 a month, unless they've gone up in the last year. So where are those people going to go? Are they still going to be able to have their monthly parking? Because if you take their parking away from people that are living there, where the hell are they going to park?
Well, Dennis, don't forget, there's a situation going on over there that Kip Bouchane runs that.
The city parking garage?
Yeah. So maybe somebody sent me a picture of the guy, Kip's sergeant at arms, that goes around and tags all those people. He was walking through that parking lot the other day, tagging people. So maybe they're going to offer a special deal to them if they want to park over there in the city parking lot.
Well, the city parking lot is around $55, give or take, a month to park there, which isn't that bad. You're out of the weather, but some of these people are going to have those 40 spots they're going to lose. They're going to have to park somewhere, and then they're going to bring the parking meters back. Can you imagine downtown with parking meters?
Don't they have parking meters there now?
No, there's no parking meters in downtown.
I was thinking the other day, between that PCRC and whatever else I was rambling on about, racism, I was wondering if it's possible that somebody, like when they hung that young girl at Gallows Lane, hundreds of years ago, if somebody could have put a, I'm serious.
The only reason I'm laughing is I've been telling people that lately. The reason nothing's going on in this town is because it's cursed.
Well,
I never even thought of that.
We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, we've still got the thing down at Fort Trumbull. The citizens made it plain years ago that we don't want any damn pedestrian overpass. And I don't even know that the museum is going to go in there. The logical place for it is in Fort Trumbull. People, if there's a museum, a Coast Guard museum, people are going to come and see it.
I mean, it's kind of, I guess you could make that statement. I mean, it would seem logical with the fort being there. You could make that whole area like that. But if the museum goes in down there, now you got a nonprofit in there, and you're not going to get any tax money out of it.
But you're not going to get any tax money downtown.
Well, no, this is true, but there's nothing else left to sell downtown along the water.
What's the point?
The point is, we lose less money by the museum being downtown, and we stand to gain a lot more money coming into downtown with it being there. As if you put it at Fort Trumbull, where you lose the ability to make money off that land, depending on what you put there.
Dennis, it's not going to take all of that.
It's going to take a good chunk. I mean, the whole design would probably change.
Well, it's a pretty crummy design to begin with.
Matter of opinion. I like it. And I like it being downtown.
Listen, they can't do anything with Fort Trumbull. They've tried everything. I thought when we worked on that Alan Plattis design, Yale, New Haven, I thought that was a good design. They can't do anything with it. There's no big attraction down there. People coming from out of town, thank God they don't know us. So I mean, no, that's in our favor. They don't know us, so they just say, oh, wow, we heard this is a Coast Guard museum. Like, we don't know the people down there near West Point. or wherever they have that those other museums. We don't know them. So if we're that kind of people, we're going to go there. We don't know the people that live in those streets. We don't know that they're crazy or not. We just know we want to go to a museum. That's what tourists will be thinking. They will say, oh, wow, they got a new Coast Guard museum there. They got Fort Trumbull there. They got all that stuff. We'll go down there and see.
See, there's a lot more that goes to it than...
It is what I said it is.
Well, okay, well, there we go. We are done, but thank you for tuning in. No, you got to look at... I look at all of it, the whole picture. I try to look at the whole picture. It's not just about the museum.
Don't look at the whole picture.
Well,
look at the part I told you about.
First of all, you got two obstacles with it being at Fort Trumbull, I think, is in order to build it, you got to bring materials in. You got to bring them in on trucks. Some stuff won't get underneath those railroad bridges. So it means they got to go way down and all the way. Well, that's an option. That's an option. But if you think about it being downtown, the access to it is much easier, and the options of getting there doesn't necessarily include a car. I mean, you got boat, you got train, the highway's right there. It's all right
Dennis,
there.
look at the dock they have down at. Look at the docks they have down at Fort Trumbull. Downtown is going to sink under the weight of everything that's supposed to go downtown.
What's everything?
Never mind that. You don't need to know that.
Oh.
Dennis, we need to open up this whole city. The whole city cannot consist of downtown.
Oh, I agree with you on that.
Look at Hodges Square.
But there's a better idea for Fort Trumbull.
What is it?
This idea comes from Tony Sylvester and Frank McLaughlin.
The water park?
Well, not just a water park. They call it a commitment plan. And what it is you get 3 or 4 businesses, whether it's a hotel, amusement park, restaurant, or whatever, and you get these companies to commit to build down there at the same time. So that way everybody...
How's Tony doing with Harborview? Has he got them all sold?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, I didn't think so either.
But he's making progress on City Flats.
Oh. Well, that ought to tell you something.
Well, hey.
All right, so commitment. Now
so this commitment plan is when you have 3 or 4 businesses that are building at the same time, they already know that they're going to have another business that they can feed off of. So you got people, they got other people coming there for other reasons that will maybe attract them to come to their business. That, to me, has been the only logical thing I can think of to do it down there, because everything else we tried to do down at Fort Trumbull has failed, and it is always wrapped around housing. And there's still people who say, well, make it lots and let people build down there. Well, people are building you had the guy that bought the condos or the townhouses there on Shore Street. He actually was one of the bidders for Lighthouse Inn. There was 10 of them. They were never done. He went in, he finished them off, fixed them up. I don't think 9 of them are done. It's right across from the clinic. Shores and...
Is it near that restaurant?
That little
Those
tiny
nice
restaurant.
looking condos.
Oh, they are. They're beautiful. But he can't, even with EB down there, he's not having any luck.
Well, how many condos can we...
Well, the problem is, to me, is our mill rate, the taxes we paying. I don't care what you do with this town. You can build your brand new schools. You can do all that stuff. But if the taxes are too high, nobody's coming here. It's that simple. I don't know why everybody thinks it's, more complicated with that. It's not. If I can move to Groton and pay less taxes than here, and I want my kids to go to the new school, just ship them over. Got to be cheaper. What do you think they should do at Fort Trumbull? I mean, you were a big part of it.
I told you. I was a big part.
So the only thing you think, okay, take the museum out of the picture. What do you think could... Well, because it's not going to go down there. That's why. It's not going there. We got to get past that stage. It's not going there. So rather than waste all this energy and time about it going there, you're not going to change nobody's mind. They're set in where they want to put it, and that's where it's going to go. The state has already committed $20 million.
The state has committed
pedestrian bridge.
The state has committed $20 million to a pedestrian bridge that we're now going to be on the hook for maintenance and security.
It's not a done deal yet.
Oh, how many times have we said that?
I know. Well, how many times have people rallied against any kind of pedestrian bridge? You don't think that can't happen again? I got a pretty good idea it could happen again.
I just don't know what's wrong. You know what? New London, we're sitting here. We have so much. We have so much in the way of assets. I think that we have to make up our mind what we're going to market ourselves as. I mean, this is a great little city. I mean, look, Benedict Arnold thought enough of it that it was so important he had to burn it down.
Well, maybe we should start there.
Oh,
Burn it down and start over.
But there's so much. I mean, really. I mean, we should have the Amistad here, the Coast Guard Museum. Sure, that's great. I guess people love that stuff. But I just think that we have to begin to stop thinking of New London as just downtown. And
That's
Hodges
true.
Square. Hodges Square is the second busiest entrance in New London.
It should be fixed up, though. If it's the second biggest entrance to New London, it should make a statement when people come down there.
It does, but they could make a statement together with that Crystal Avenue section. You know, that Hallam Street footbridge. That's a historic site.
Well, there was a plan, wasn't part of the plan to connect the college and the Coast Guard Academy to
That
downtown?
Vista Walkway.
What happened to that?
What happened to a whole bunch of things? If anybody would ever get together and coordinate this stuff, you know, say, oh, wait a minute, didn't we have a plan? Okay, let's hook that up, that Vista Walkway. And while we're at it, you know, we'll hook up that, you know, that soccer field that nobody uses.
I never even knew it was a soccer field. I thought it was just a big field. I know they wanted to give it to us for Riverside, to replace Riverside. That didn't work out.
Look what else. I mean, the mill is down there, 3 minutes. The mill is down there too. We have so much stuff. But people get, I think that the people who are in charge need my advice. That's what I think.
I thought you had everybody's ear.
Well, I do, but they don't pay attention. I mean, they listen to me, and they'll say, sometimes they say it's a good idea, but then they never mention who gave it to them.
I'm going to change subjects here on a dime. Is there anybody on the council that stands out to you that you think is going to make a difference on a positive side?
I'm very disappointed in this council. I really am. First of all, I thought John Sadai is not a quiet person. And I was so surprised to see him sit there quietly in the last couple of meetings.
Well, they're new. I mean, you're going to get some of that. You know, you're going to get some quietness in the beginning. But
I'm hoping things will get better as they go along. But for Martha Marks to say that at the parking thing, 5 old white guys.
Well, her response I read was that she made that statement because a couple of them were making some kind of remarks about, which I think is a bunch of crap.
It's a bunch of crap because Martha shouldn't have said it to begin with. It
Well,
doesn't make
they
any
better
difference.
watch out for Martha. And I don't mean that in a good way.
You know what? I don't think, I like Martha personally to talk to, but I don't think Martha's attitude is one bit funny. Really, I don't.
No.
You can't. Martha's very difficult to tell anything to because she has her mind made up, and she's going to have to learn that that's not how it works when you're working with a team of people. No, I'm not impressed. I thought I had great hopes for Don Vendetto. He spells his name, it's Ditto, Ditto,
Yeah.
which I hope is not going to be the role he plays.
Well, we'll see. I kind of got hopes for them too, John and Don. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's only been 3 meetings, and I'm not impressed. But it's only been 3 meetings, so we'll have to see in time. But you know, we only got 1 minute. And we didn't get to half the stuff I wanted to. You're gonna have to come back next month.
I'm come back. I
All
can
right.
come back next week. As a matter of fact,
well,
I could stay right here. I don't have any doctor's appointments or anything for a long time.
Well, you brought your sleeping bag, so. I want to thank you for coming on, and I know there's probably a few people sitting out there going, "What the heck? Where'd she come from?" But
Long time no see.
yeah, so you'll come back, and we'll still hear more from you, whether it's on Facebook or
Whale tails.
city council meetings.
You wait till I get my license back. No one's safe
Oh,
then.
that's right. I forgot to. Look out, folks. She's getting her license. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.